You know that moment when the world tilts on its axis, and everything you've buried deep inside comes rushing to the surface like a storm you can't outrun? For me, Sophia Reed. That moment hit on Christmas Eve 2023, right in the heart of our family's sprawling ranch-style home in suburban Denver. The air was thick with the scent of roasted turkey and fresh pine from the towering tree Mom had decorated with heirloom ornaments passed down from generations. Laughter echoed off the walls as 24 relatives gathered around the long oak table. Plates piled high with mashed potatoes, gravy, and all the fixings. But beneath the twinkling lights and cheerful toasts, a fracture was forming, one that had been cracking for years. Hidden behind my polite smiles and quiet endurance, Dad stood up. His broad shoulders squared like he was about to deliver a sermon at the family church we'd attended every Sunday growing up. His voice boomed with that familiar pride, the kind reserved for moments that really mattered to him. "We got some big news tonight," he announced, clinking his wine glass with a fork. Mom beamed beside him, her perfectly coiffed hair catching the light. Across from me sat my younger sister, Brooke, 25 years old, with her glossy brunette waves and that effortless glow that turned heads wherever she went. She was fidgeting with excitement, her diamond earrings another, just because gift from our parents, sparkling like stars. "As you all know," Dad continued, "Brooke's been pouring her heart into her wellness coaching business. She's got real vision, real drive." I swallowed hard, forcing a smile. Brooke's business was mostly her posting yoga poses and green smoothie recipes on Instagram, landing sponsorships for essential oils and athleisure, where that company shipped her for free. It was her latest passion, following a trail of abandoned dreams, baking artisanal cupcakes, starting a travel vlog, even a brief stint as a makeup artist. Each one funded generously by Mom and Dad. No questions asked. Mom pulled out a velvet box tied with a red ribbon and slid it to Brooke. "We wanted to give you something to help you soar, sweetie." Brooke opened it with a squeal, revealing a set of keys dangling from a luxury keychain. "It's a condo in Lodo," Dad declared proudly. "Fully paid for. $280,000 worth of prime real estate, modern kitchen, rooftop views. The works. Your launch pad to success." The room exploded in cheers. Aunts and uncles clapped. Cousins whistled. And Brooke leaped up, hugging our parents like she'd won the lottery. I sat there, my fork frozen midair, the mashed potatoes turning to ash in my mouth. $280,000. Just like that. A gift wrapped in favoritism I'd pretended not to see for far too long. Then Dad turned to me, his expression shifting to something more obligatory. "And Sophia, we got something for you too." My heart stuttered with a foolish spark of hope. Maybe this time they'd recognize me, the 31-year-old social worker who'd clawed her way through community college on scholarships, built a career helping at-risk kids in the Denver foster system. The one who showed up for every family crisis without complaint. He passed me a thick envelope. "Open it," he urged, almost casually. Inside were loan documents for a townhouse in Aurora, $310,000, with my name on the dotted line for monthly payments. "It's a solid starter home," Mom chimed in, her smile tight. "You're so practical, Sophia. This'll build your equity." The table went quiet, a few awkward coughs breaking the silence. My cousin Liam, a paralegal who'd seen enough family disputes in his line of work, shot me a sympathetic glance but stayed silent. Everyone did. I folded the papers neatly, my voice steady as steel. "Thanks for the opportunity," I said, meeting their eyes. But inside, something snapped, a dam breaking after years of quiet erosion. They thought I'd swallow it. Like always. The reliable daughter. The one who mediated arguments, loaned money to relatives in need, and never made waves. But that night, as I drove home through the snow-dusted streets, the city lights blurring through my tears, I realized the truth. I'd been their shadow, dimmed so Brooke could shine. And in that shadow, I'd built something they could never imagine. Something that would bring their perfect facade crumbling down. Growing up in our middle-class neighborhood, family was supposed to be unbreakable. Mom and Dad preached it like gospel, read stick together. No matter what. But no matter what only applied to some of us. I was the fixer, the girl who got perfect grades, volunteered at the local shelter, and chose a career in social work because I wanted to make a difference, not chase money. Brooke? She was the dreamer. The charmer. Excused from chores because she's sensitive, gifted a brand new SUV at 16 while I saved for a used sedan. When her high school fling ended in drama, they consoled her with a spa weekend. When I aced my certification exams, Dad's response was a pat on the back and good job. But social work won't make you rich. Last summer's incident should have been my breaking point. My old Toyota Camry, reliable as it was, needed engine work, $12,000 that I didn't have. I asked for a loan, and they agreed. But with a contract, interest, monthly deductions from my paycheck. Teaches responsibility, Dad said sternly. A month later, Brooke decided she wanted to pivot to wellness coaching and needed startup cash for branding. They handed her $40,000 outright. No strings. Her business fizzled after 4 months. But my payments marched on. The barbs accumulated like scars. Brooke's got that spark, you're more the steady type, Mom would say over coffee. As if steadiness was a consolation prize. At family barbecues, Dad joked, Sophia's our rock. But Brooke's the diamond. I internalized it, thinking if I just proved myself more, it'd change. But it never did. They saw me as the background character in Brooke's starring role. After that Christmas bombshell, I pulled into a quiet park by Cherry Creek Reservoir, the water lapping darkly under the winter moon. My phone lit up with a text from Liam. That was bullshit. Call if you need to talk. I didn't. Instead, I let the anger simmer, turning it into fuel. The next day, I confronted Mom over the phone. That condo money, was it from Grandpa's estate? Grandpa Reed had passed 2 years prior, leaving a trust meant for equal split between Brooke and me. Dad handled it, keeping details fuzzy. Mom hesitated. We distributed it as we saw fit. Brooke needs the boost, you're stable. Stable. Like a reliable old horse. Not worth the prime feed. So you stole my have-to-play favorites? Her sigh was exasperated. Don't be dramatic. If you'd chosen a better path, maybe things would have been different. Those words sealed it. No more scraps. No more silence. What they didn't know was my hidden life. 3 years ago, I'd started a side hustle called Harmony Haven, crafting personalized wellness journals and affirmation kits for stressed professionals. It began small, designing planners for my social work clients to track their mental health goals. A colleague shared one online, and orders poured in. I set up an online store, quit moonlighting at a cafe, and rented a tiny studio in the Baker District. By year 1, I'd hired 2 assistants. Year 2 brought wholesale deals with yoga studios nationwide. Now, in year 3, Harmony Haven was a 6-figure enterprise with a flagship store in Reno, online sales booming, and a team of 15. I'd invested wisely, silent partnerships in 2 trendy Denver cafes and a mindfulness app I developed with a coder friend, pulling in royalties. My portfolio? Over $1.8 million. All secret. Because sharing would have invited their dismissal. Cute hobby. But not real success. Now, it was time to unveil. I gathered proof, texts belittling my job while praising Brooks' entrepreneurial spirit, financial records of their lopsided gifts, emails ignoring my input on family decisions. A binder of betrayal. Cold and factual. I met with Kessler Law Group, specialists in estate disputes. This is textbook misappropriation, attorney Rachel Kessler said, flipping through my files. Emotional abuse too, if we push it. But it'll torch bridges. I leaned forward. Those bridges were rotten anyway. Burn them. We plotted meticulously. I chose Brooks' 26th birthday bash, March 15th, as ground zero. Mom and Dad had booked the Grand Pavilion at the Denver Botanic Gardens, transforming it into a wonderland of fairy lights, floral arches, and a live jazz band for 120 guests. Invitations arrived on embossed paper. Mom's note to me, "Wear something nice, it's Brooks' big night." I did. A crimson Oscar de la Renta dress from Saks, Louboutin pumps, and emeralds I'd bought after my app launched. I arrived fashionably late, heads turning as I glided in. "Sophia, you look transformed," Uncle Ted stammered. "Thanks," I replied coolly. Special occasion. Brooke reigned at the center, in a shimmering silver gown, accepting toasts. Mom and Dad orbited her, basking in reflected glory. At 10 p.m., after dessert, I signaled the AV guy I'd tipped. Lights dimmed, microphone in hand. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, voice like velvet over razor wire, "I'm Sophia Reed, Brooks' big sister. Happy birthday, sis." She smiled warily. "Family's everything, right? Loyalty, support, equality." The room hushed. But what if it's not equal? The screen lit up. Mom's text, "Brooks the one with potential, Sophia's just reliable." Murmurs rose. Dad advanced. "Sophia, stop this." "I'm just sharing our story," I countered. Slides flipped. Inheritance docs showing my share diverted to Brooks' condo. Gift disparities. Cruel emails. "You gave her a free ride with my money. Humiliated me at Christmas in front of everyone." Brooke paled. "This isn't true." "Oh, it is," I said, revealing my empire, Harmony Haven's revenues, investments, patents. "While you called me just a social worker, I built this. Alone." Aunt Clara stood. I knew they played favorites. Shame on them. Mom trembled. "This is Brooks' day, and mine for truth," I shot back. Final slide, lawsuit papers for fraud and abuse. Served next week. Chaos erupted. Liam nodded approvingly. Solid case. I walked out, dress swishing, as whispers turned to shouts. "Happy birthday, Brooke." Truth hurts, but lies kill slower. The fallout hit like an avalanche. Lawsuit papers landed, Dad's desperate email blast calling me unhinged boomeranged into defamation charges. Family split, most backed me, sharing their own grievances. Uncle Ted admitted Dad had cut him off for questioning the favoritism. Brooks' influencer world cracked, leaked party clips tanked her followers by 80,000. Sponsors fled. She messaged, "Why destroy me?" I replied, "I exposed us. Fix what's left." Mom called weeks later. Voice shattered. "Your father's leaving. The shame's too much. He blames me." Silence. "Aren't you sorry? You built this mess," I said. "I just lit the match." They settled. Apology. Compensation I donated to foster kid scholarships, ironic, given they'd mocked my career. Brooke sold the condo. Got a real job in marketing. Started therapy. Dad fled to Tucson, we don't speak. Mom lingers in Denver. Sending hesitant cards, I answer curtly. Harmony Haven flourished. I expanded to Portland. Launched eco-friendly lines. Volunteered at youth centers teaching resilience through journaling. Principal at my old agency. Elena Torres. Who'd seen my quiet struggles. Cheered. You were always a force. They just blinded themselves. Healing came slow, not vengeance's rush, but steady therapy unraveling the not enough echoes. I met Alex Thompson at a wellness expo, a supply chain expert whose calm matched my storm. Our partnership turned personal, dinners debating ethics, hikes in the Rockies. Him saying, "Your strength isn't cold, it's survival." I relocated HQ to Seattle, craving the misty reinvention. New home in Queen Anne. Friends who saw me whole. Brooke visited once. Post-therapy, I didn't see the cage they put you in. Sorry, I never unlocked it. We talked raw, her golden child pressure. My scapegoat isolation. Friends someday? She asked. Maybe, I said. On our terms. Christmas 2024. I hosted in Seattle. Simple feast. Real connections. Brooke came. Gifting a handmade journal. I crafted it, turns out I can build too. Mom's shadow loomed via Brooke's update. She's changed. Misses you. I pondered forgiveness as choice. Not chain. Snow fell outside. Blanketing old wounds. My story? Mine now. Penned in Freedom's ink. The price of revenge? A shattered family. But a self-reclaimed. Worth every scar.